Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Eclarino, a program manager of Climate Resolves Ready for Tomorrow program. And today, our team would like to give you an overview of our program, our services, our accomplishments since launching in 2019, and information on how your community could apply to receive assistance from our team of experienced grant writers. And I could turn it over to my team to introduce themselves.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Samantha Nuno, and I'm the Grants and Proposals Manager at Climate Resolve and part of the Ready for Tomorrow team. And I'll pass it to Selena.
Hi, everyone. I'm Selena Mogoza. I'm the Climate Solution Analyst, also part of the Ready for Tomorrow team. Maddie?
All right. Yeah. And I'm Maddie. I'm the Climate Grants Analyst at Climate Resolve. And yeah, excited to share more about the program with y'all.
Great. Launched in 2010, Climate Resolve is a Los Angeles-based nonprofit that believes that climate change is a global problem that requires many solutions that are local. Climate Resolves communicates how climate change will affect us in Southern California and across the state, and what opportunities that we have to make an impact and empower people on a personal level. To do this, Climate Resolve works on policy and legislation for the state and locally, like advocating for funding to help people bike, walk, or take public transit in their neighborhoods, leading community projects like getting stormwater designs to capture rain, and also installing cool surfaces in communities to reduce heat. And on top of this, we do a lot of outreach and advocacy on pressing climate issues, such as extreme heat impacts on public health. To help address some of these challenges when it comes to securing funding for climate projects, since 2018, Edison International's corporate philanthropy group has been supporting Climate Resolves Ready for Tomorrow program. This program provides no-cost grant writing assistance for local climate planning and projects that benefit disadvantaged, vulnerable communities as defined by the state using Cal EnviroScreen 4.0, and on the federal level using Justice 40 indicators. We focus specifically on these communities because despite being the hardest hit by the impacts of climate change, they often are the least invested in, and our program helps to address this discrepancy. During our program's first year, we conducted a landscape analysis to figure out compliance with Senate Bill 379, which was signed in 2015 to require cities and counties to integrate climate adaptation upon the next revision of their general plan. Our 2020 report found that only half of California municipalities complied with SB 379 by the deadline, and data from OPR Resilient California Adaptation Planning Map showed that only 51% of municipalities completed the main components of Senate Bill 379. Key findings of our report was that we found that municipalities lacked funding and capacity to adequately comply with SB 379. And this was also discovered through interviews with municipal offices to inform our report. And that information led us to develop our grant writing assistance program under Ready for Tomorrow the following year. Ready for Tomorrow provides no-cost grant writing assistance to municipalities, CBOs, tribal entities serving disadvantaged communities as defined by Cal EnviroScreen 4.0 and Justice 40 to build climate resilient communities, increase program participants' knowledge on climate funding opportunities, and ensure that climate investments are directed to the most vulnerable communities.
Now we'll go into more of Ready for Tomorrow services. So you can think of Ready for Tomorrow scope as a menu of services based on your organization's needs. So our RFT scope of services can include, but is not limited to, conducting stakeholder interviews to identify local climate priorities, researching and matching potential grants to fit the entity's needs, creating grant writing work plans to ensure submittal of the proposal on time, organizing bi-weekly at minimum check-in calls to stay on top of the grant deadline and coordinate materials needed, leading narrative brainstorming sessions, facilitating work relationships between city staff and CBOs, creating ArcGIS maps that visually integrate data sources such as Cal Enviroscreen 4.0 and CalAdapt into the narrative and grant proposal, writing sections of the grant proposal, providing redline edits on narrative drafts, and lastly, drafting templates for letters of support and requesting signed letters from key stakeholders. And once you are an RFT participant, we'll work with you to check off which types of services you'd like to receive. If you checked off identifying a grant, our process can include identifying environmental and climate related needs, like active transportation or tree canopy, and match you with related grants. Climate Resolve has a matrix that is a curated list of current and past climate grant opportunities from public and private sources that are organized under the categories of air quality, energy, forest and fire, greening, planning and engagement, transportation, and water or stormwater. The matrix includes information on the deadline, description of the grant, the agency, sources of funds, and all this information can be found on our website. Then once a grant is identified, we'll match with our RFT participants with a grant and work on all those menu of services. So recently we have engaged with the following Ready for Tomorrow participants. This includes the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, California State University Northridge, the Tongva Tarahapahava Conservancy, Los Angeles Department of Parks and Rec, Active SGV, Council for Watershed Health, City Plants, Destination Crenshaw, and cities such as Moreno Valley, Rialto, and San Fernando. So Ready for Tomorrow has supported DAX win over $24 million in grant awards, including nearly $16 million in 2023 alone. The return on investment for our work has been able to give communities increased access to climate funds. For instance, for every $1 supporting our Ready for Tomorrow program, we've helped DAX win nearly $160. In 2023, we assisted submitting 12 grant proposals to state and federal climate-related grant programs. We successfully won 6 grant awards for more than $15.8 million, and we are awaiting decisions on 4 remaining grant proposals. Now, Sam will go into more detail on the examples of grants we've assisted with.
Awesome. Thank you, Selena. Yes, so as Selena mentioned, we've helped many different cities, counties apply to grants. For example, with the cities of Rialto, Moreno Valley, and Commerce, we helped them receive more than $12 million in climate planning and implementation grants. And we thought we might share a little bit of the examples about these funded projects just to give you an idea of like what are some options out there, what types of grants could fund projects that you might be interested in as well. So some of the examples from our past participants include funding infrastructure like bike lanes, transit-oriented development, also more green infrastructure like planting more shade trees or urban greening in communities, but also things like covering transportation or electrification of transportation and buildings. So that in the past has included zero emission buses and shuttles. And then if you're at the infrastructure stage, some of those implementation grants would be great. But if you might be at an earlier stage where you're trying to figure out your priorities or cover things like design and planning, if you already have your priorities covered, there's also planning grants that are available that we've been able to help some of our participants apply to and also win. And so some examples of that includes funding for displacement avoidance plans, or for creating general plans or local hazard mitigation plans as well. Next slide. And then we also wanted to share some of our work with some of our tribal Ready for Tomorrow participants. So far, we've been able to help some tribes like the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians receive more than $6 million in climate planning and implementation funds. And so working specifically with this tribe that's located in SoCal, we've been able to help them out through various stages of the process as they were on their climate resilience journey. And so starting off with receiving funds through the California Resilience Challenge. They were able to start working on some of their climate hazard identification and mapping in their land boundary. And so sometimes for tribes or for cities, if they're still at these early stages, there's many grants that are out there so that these kinds of activities could be tackled. And from there, they were able to create an extreme heat, wildfire, drought, and energy resilience planning document shown to the right that ultimately was published and makes up their tribal climate resiliency plan created in 2024. From there, they have been a great example of moving into the implementation phases and starting to pursue implementation grants. And so have received funds for native tree plantings, as well as the creation of nurseries for their tribe, as well as pursuing conservation grants and workforce development grants for their tribal conservation corps. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a flavor of what's possible with some of these grants and some of the experience that we have helping out Ready for Tomorrow participants as well. And then lastly, just wanted to share some more program accomplishments. Recently, we received some recognition for our program, including the 2024 Eco America Climate Leadership Award for $50K to go towards our program. We also were able to receive greater funding to expand our program from Southern California Edison. So hopefully this allows us to give more assistance to more participants, continue that assistance for repeat participants, as well as just provide more grant writing assistance overall. And then lastly, through our Eco America Climate Leadership Award, we wrote a step-by-step guide to replicating our program in case there's any other organizations that are interested in a similar grant writing assistance program.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. So now that you've heard a bit about what we've done as the Ready for Tomorrow team, some of our goals for the future, we recently launched year 4 of our grant writing assistance program. So this is currently open to any representatives serving disadvantaged communities, primarily focused on inland Southern California and working with tribes. You can see the regions in yellow on the right are a map of the Southern California Edison service area. So those include Mono County, Inyo, Tulare, Kern, LA County, Ventura, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Orange County. But if you're outside of these regions, we still encourage you to fill out our intake form so that we can have you on file, because in the future we're hoping to expand our program statewide. So we can let you know if we're able to serve you. Speaking of our intake form, I'll walk you through the process of how people enter our program and, get to applying and winning grants. So first you'll fill out our intake form, which should take a minute or two. We'll demo that in the next slide. Then we'll review your response and schedule an intake call, maybe have some questions based on what priorities you identified, and do a little bit of background research on your org so that we can come and figure out what our plan is. With this call, we want to get a better sense of your needs, your past experience applying for grants, and if there's anything ongoing that you specifically want to focus on. Sometimes people will already have a grant they're applying for and they need help more quickly, versus sometimes people will come and need to be matched with grants, which goes into step 3, applying for a grant with our support. So this is going to look different depending on what your needs are. We'll pace to the grant deadline. As Selena had mentioned earlier, we'll schedule at least bi-weekly meetings for project management support on the grant application. And we can help with scoping strategy to make sure that you're competitive for the grant and putting forth activities that are allowable to actually, helping write and review the grant application. And then finally, step 4, we'll keep in touch. We have a lot of repeat participants because we find that once we've submitted one application with an organization, we can repurpose those materials to pursue other grants, whether they were not awarded the funding and we want to try again, or whether they got the funding and they want to build off of the project they were able to implement. So yeah, we'll go into a bit of our intake form demo. Let me just put this on 2x speed because it's a little bit slow. So you'll start by just filling out your name, email, and org name. We can do a little bit of background research while we're waiting for the call to be set up. Include your org type. You can select any regions that you serve within California, and if you serve disadvantaged communities. It's okay if you're not sure. And then finally here you can select the types of activities you want to support. If you have like a focus coming into it and you need more urgent support, what kinds of things you would like help with, and you can leave comments about like if you have an upcoming grant deadline that you want assistance with, or if you have a specific program that you want to support, or if there are different specs of your org that have been challenges for you in the past, we can focus in on that and then submit it. And I can pass it back to Chris to wrap us up here once I get, there we go.
Thank you all for giving that overview of Ready for Tomorrow, our services, and an overview of our intake form. And we appreciate your interest and look forward to reviewing your intake form submissions. And if you have any questions about our program and or services, feel free to reach out to the team with our contact information here. Thank you.